At the heart of the city, Harambee is a crucial part of the Milwaukee community. A vibrant neighborhood of invested citizens and organizations, Harambee has proud traditions and a rich history.
When you walk the streets, you look at folks who live in this neighborhood, it's good people, decent folks, and they need whatever help and assistance we can provide. And it's an opportunity for us to do something. And this is where I live, this is where other folks who run agencies live. So I'm saying this is my front yard. So if I can't get out and do something, to help, my neighborhood, what else should I be doing?
I've always felt lucky to be able to work in this neighborhood because this is really the hub of the African American community. This is the embodiment of African American culture and tradition in Milwaukee.
Like many Milwaukee neighborhoods, today's Harambee faces challenges. But in the face of difficulties, the neighborhood is determined to create solutions. Resident Julia Doyle shares some impressions from moving to Harambee in 2007.
A lot of the people were active, but they were active only on their respective blocks. They knew one another, but they weren't as cohesive as they could have been.
She saw a will in the neighborhood and energy waiting to be tapped. This determination to work towards solutions was shared by groups with a history of investment in Harambee.
They're doing housing, they're doing economic development, they're doing block clubs. Oftentimes, when you're doing things, an agency's doing this, they're concentrating on exactly what they're doing.
It's a community that has a lot of participation, active involvement with residents and other stakeholders, and a real good planning context.
In 2007, the Harambee Great Neighborhood Initiative planning process began, an effort made possible by major investments from Thrivent Builds Neighborhoods with Habitat for Humanity and Local Initiative Support Corporation, or LISC. 15 community partners and a multitude of community volunteers in Harambee came to the table.
It took a good meeting for us to go through what everybody was doing, and also for everybody to understand that what we were doing was for the good of the neighborhood.
The Harambee Great Neighborhood Initiative adopted targeted focuses in economic development, affordable housing, image, health and safety, community connections, and arts and culture.
It brought together stakeholders, residents, into a planning process that was very participatory. It received and respected input from stakeholders, and it all found its way into a plan. It was a plan that also was backed up with dollars. So we had objectives, we had action steps.
The work was happening but needed to be coordinated. This plan looked to capitalize on the neighborhood's assets and build new opportunities.
Making Rose Park more usable, having pride projects in the community to promote urban gardens, fix-up, paint-up projects for homeowners. We've gotten young folks involved in gallery night.
The word Harambee is Swahili for let's pull together. The Harambee Great Neighborhood Initiative is a perfect example of that unity, a community pulling together to find common purpose and create their own solutions.
So living in Harambee for me really means having that cohesive front. People are willing to collaborate, they are willing to come together.
But the mindset of the group was that collectively we became a force, and that we could do anything that we wanted to in the neighborhood for the good of the neighborhood. We clearly better understood what the needs of the neighborhood was and what we needed to do.
The Harambee Great Neighborhood Initiative has helped inspire, organize, and support community-led projects, from neighborhood cleanups to block watches to family-oriented social gatherings. Here we'll share one of many stories representing the work powered by Harambee neighbors.
Right there is beans. These are collard greens that were planted last year and they came back. In mine those are beans. There's 3 different kinds of beans.
Roberta Lyles, co-president of the Cluster 2 Neighborhood Association, has been in Harambee for 22 years.
Donna Handel and I were sitting on our porch one day about, let's say about 5 years ago, and we were watching our children, and we call all these kids our children, playing. Cars are coming speeding down the street. And we said to one another almost simultaneously, these kids need a place to play, where their parents can watch them.
Fortunately, Roberta and Donna had a place to bring those ideas. She attended an early HGNI strategy session and met with Mary Beth Driscoll from Groundwork, an organization working to rejuvenate vacant lots and usable spaces in Milwaukee.
There were quite a few neighbors that were involved, that were concerned about the way that the neighborhood looked. The fact that there were so many vacant lots, that the vacant lots were full of litter, that they were places that crime happened, and they wanted some kind of attention given to those vacant lots. And that's what we're all about, is getting people involved. So I was kind of thrilled that, that people did that. There was no prompting. It was what they wanted to do.
I talked to her and I asked her, what it was that she could do to make this happen. So we had many meetings. We talked about it. She brought suggestions, pictures, different things.
After securing a vacant double lot with the generous support of the Inner City Redevelopment Corporation, Roberta discussed how to create a safe and functional space with her Cluster 2 Block Club.
Everybody started saying, well, you know, that's a good idea. We've never had nothing like that around here. We go other places and we see that, and it's a beautiful idea. Let's do it.
Eventually, their ideas blossomed into a hybrid, a space with a natural playground for children and gardens for elders. The Handel and Lyles Play and Grow public space.
The intergenerational component was just a natural, so that there was something for everybody.
With a bit of planning, design, and sweat equity, the project was underway. They even found a creative solution to watering the garden, a one-of-a-kind underground rainwater basin.
Within Harambee Great Neighborhood, you have all of these different departments. One seems to connect with the other one, and you know this person will connect you with someone else. And so getting the people together was no problem.
From the minute they started tilling the soil, the new Play and Grow lot attracted the attention of neighbors and other partners.
Everybody went and bought their seeds and their plants and everything, and they came out and started planting. The first crop they pulled in, everybody was excited. I got food, I got vegetables, I can freeze, I can can. They were happy with it.
Where once there was a vacant lot, Cluster 2 and Groundwork grew the seed of an idea into a flourishing community resource.
And the kids know, that's mine. And I would tell them, I said, look, those kids know that that's theirs, and I'm gonna make it happen.
Resources may be designed to meet the needs of a community, but there's no guarantee the community knows how to access them. The partners of the HGNI use their expertise to connect those dots. Since 1992, Riverworks has worked to stabilize the area's business and economic base. With the emergence of the HGNI, Riverworks and other partners could expand their efforts in the community.
What we did within the plan, we focused on what we were doing best within the area. So what we felt that we could bring to the table were a number of strong programs that could really lend to building a strong neighborhood.
In the past 3 years, Riverworks has worked to redevelop the 5 Point Exchange, organize workforce development programs, provide resources for home repair, and support local small businesses.
This is a neighborhood where I grew up, so I'm very familiar with a lot of housing stock and a lot of commercial buildings. And this building that's right behind me, well, we felt that we needed to work with this business owner because it was all blocked in, you couldn't see in the windows. It was kind of a scary place to go into.
With help from the City of Milwaukee and the local Business Improvement District, the Sunshine Foods owner was able to complete a full renovation of the building's facade.
As people drive through the neighborhood, when you have buildings that have been boarded up or the windows have been shrunk down where you can't see in, it just sends the wrong image. Keefe Avenue is a very busy street, and like I say, it leads into our business park. So it's very important for us to work with businesses to open up their windows, make people feel comfortable that this is a safe area. That's what we're really trying to get across to businesses. Don't be fearful of the neighborhood, be part of the neighborhood and work with the residents.
Just a few blocks away, there's another example of how the HGNI and their partners connect community to resources. Sunny Perry is a LISC AmeriCorps volunteer with Riverworks. She helps residents connect to home improvement programs like Allied Church's Teaching Self-Empowerment, Habitat for Humanity's A Brush with Kindness, the City of Milwaukee, and WIDA.
People may be doing more energy efficient things to their homes, like installing furnaces that are more energy efficient, light fixtures. We have roofing projects.
Some projects are for beautification, some for efficiency, and others are for major home improvement necessity.
This was a new ramp that was built on her house, and this person is Miss Eartha Collins, and she was one of the first residents who I was able to connect with when I started.
With Sunny's help, Eartha, a military widow, connected with Heroes at Home, a program for veterans and their families, as well as Rebuilding Together, a home rehab nonprofit.
Oh, I'm very thankful for it because, like I say, it helped me to be able to maneuver around.
It's just really great to be able to connect people to resources, to be involved with organizations that are serious about bringing resources in the community to help people that otherwise wouldn't know about them.
The stakeholders of the HGNI came together for a common cause, and their commitment has sparked others to join. Over the past 3 years, Harambee has seen major housing investments by groups such as Habitat for Humanity, the MLK Economic Development Corporation, Inner City Redevelopment Corporation, and Allied Churches Teaching Self-Empowerment. Melissa Goins, founder and president of Moore's Development, is another developer investing in Harambee. In the Upper Martin Luther King Jr. Drive area, the newly completed Heart and Hope Place is a 24-unit residential building developed by Melissa.
We offer our residents a club room, a fitness facility, outdoor playground equipment for youth, a raised bed for gardening, an outdoor patio, and some beautiful artwork that was done by Reginald Baylor Studios.
Seeing other investors come to Harambee, Melissa saw a prime opportunity to build on a block that's come to know boarded storefronts better than new construction.
I've been exposed to downtowns and third wards, and when you see those new buildings and those condos and those apartments going up near the lake or near your city halls, it makes you wonder, well, why don't your urban centers get that type of love? And so when you put a building in an urban area that's been possibly downtrodden, that has a lot of blight, you know, when a new building comes up, it really satisfies the mission of pride and hope. It gives individuals in these urban zip codes just something beautiful to look forward to.
I am Pamela Morgan. I'm a hairdresser and a mom.
Longtime Harambee neighbor Pamela first came across Heart and Hope Place as it was being built. Every day on her way to work, it sparked her curiosity.
I prayed for 5 years solid for a new home. I asked God for a new home.
Pamela loved what she saw at Heart and Hope Place. She arranged an interview with the building manager and was soon accepted as one of the first residents.
I was just so overwhelmed with joy. It was like, oh, I get to park my car on the inside, underground parking. I've never had underground parking. Then the computer lab, I get to work out, get on the treadmill and exercise.
Pamela was able to stay near her work and family. This new home represented a major step. There were times when this dream seemed out of reach.
On a personal side of me, I'm a recovering drug addict. September, I will be 11 years clean, and I had to get through the guilt and shame and the worthlessness that I dealt with for so many years. I do deserve this. I do deserve a new home, and I'm thankful to God for it, and I really love and appreciate where I'm living at. And I thank you guys for, even considering me, because it is I believe in prayers being answered.
Recently, Pamela moved in with her daughter. Heart and Hope Place was now officially their home.
Before I moved in, when they handed me the key, I went up in that apartment and I looked around and I hit my knees and I prayed and I thank God. I thank God for my new home.
Heart and Hope Place was made possible by a reinvigorated Harambee neighborhood, and it's more than a financial investment. It's a step forward for a neighborhood and its residents.
What we do with this urban revitalization, with this housing and this commercial space and these amenities really has the ability to impact and change lives.
It's just, I'm still overwhelmed. I'm still in disbelief. I'm still overwhelmed with joy, and I'm still just grateful.
As the Harambee Great Neighborhood Initiative completes its first phase in 2011, the group asks itself questions. How can we sustain our efforts to grow community? How can we better serve Harambee? How can we develop the next wave of leadership? A project from HGNI and Riverworks hints at how those questions will be answered. After completing a mural at the Clinton Rose Center, acclaimed visual artist Ronaldo Hernandez spearheaded a project with a group of neighborhood youth along the Beer Line Trail.
Back in the day, it was called the Beer Line because Slits, Paps, and Blatts, the rail cars would go through this area. Then we learned by doing research that the great circus parade in Baraboo would come down and they would stop with all their circus paraphernalia and their animals and the elephants and stop right in the same section.
The youth working on this project found new purpose for the forgotten strip of land, a trail and mural celebrating the rich hidden history. Raven Brandon was one of those youth.
Before we even started, we had to do like a lot of research on the area, kind of get a feel for what was here, what used to be here, why we're doing this. We had to do some sketches, planning on what we wanted for the mural.
All ideas come from a vision. So the vision was to fix up this railroad corridor, and it had like 11 tons of garbage was pulled out of it. And then they landscaped the area. They put an asphalt trail along it. So the mural is on the beginning part. Now they have a wrought iron sign that says beer line, and the businesses in front help fund it and help supply it.
This project pulled together neighborhood history with investment of community leaders and put it in the hands of the next generation.
I mean, it felt pretty good to know that I was able to contribute to a neighborhood that didn't look as nice before we started, and once we started, it started coming along and looking like something you can be proud of, that you were a part of.
Because it has a domino effect. Like when I did a mural on King Drive, my first outdoor mural, the neighbors would see what's going on. They would see the process, and then I come there every day and keep on doing it. Then they see, well, somebody cares, and then they see beauty from the wall. Then the neighbors start cleaning up the vacant lots, so they start fixing their houses up. So that's the effect of it. And then people say, well, there is a hope of our neighborhood just from an art project.
The Harambee Great Neighborhood Initiative is proud of what they've cultivated over the last 3 years, pulling together resources, empowering neighbors, and building where there had once been blight. But the work is not done.
You have to remember that during the process, during those 3 years, we also had an economic downturn. So there was a lot of things that happened to this neighborhood that still need to be rectified, and it gives us a map, a road map to run on. We've done a lot of housing, but now we need to focus in on jobs, we need to focus in on economic development, and we need to focus in on doing some things for young folks.
We've come a long way. We have a ways to come, but I tell you, we really have, I think, gotten over the hump, and I think we're headed in the right direction, and there's a lot to build on.
Harambee has so much potential. It's a great place with great partners, great investment. You know, for us, Heart and Hope Place was close to a $6 million transaction. So we're here and we're committed. And we don't want our investment to stand alone. So we too become sort of a beacon of hope or possibilities, because we will look to do things in the adjacent blocks and neighborhood to make it stronger.
The community and HGNI are ready for what's next. Partners and residents have drafted a 2 to 5 year plan, building on the strong foundation they put in place with support from Thrivent Builds Neighborhoods with Habitat for Humanity and Local Initiative Support Corporation. Pulling together is not just a slogan for Harambee, it's how the community finds solutions to problems from within. A chorus of voices coming together in unison. Harambee is not just standing together, it's growing together.
I think if it lives up to the potential, and it will live up to the potential that I see, that it'd be a decent, safe place for people to come and live, to raise their families, and it'd be an area where you have, a diversity of people.
That would be my hope for the community, that we begin to share with one another our everyday lives.
There's so much at stake in being, in having this all work out and being positive. I think that if we look at the past and what this neighborhood was and how vibrant it was and how important it was to the larger community, not only the African American community but the larger community, I think we can recreate that. I think we can bring that back.